Good afternoon, this is Jeff with Sewer Tech Northwest. We are at 1145 South Cypress Street, unit number 76 here at McMinnville. I describe everything as if you're standing in the street facing the property from that direction. Now, technically the front of the house here is kind of on the side as you're oriented looking from the road, but I'm calling this the back of the house. This is the part of the wall that's furthest away from the roadway. If you walked right through that wall, you'd be in the backyard. So this is the master bedroom toilet dropping into a 3-inch ABS toilet flange here. Seller was nice enough to come pull this thing for us. This looks like a screw gut. Man, that thing is Yeah, what that looks like is like a toilet bolt got glued into the pipe there when it was being put together. We'll come back and take another look at that thing. Oops. Come back here real quick. So I'm going to zero out right here where the toilet actually wires into the sewer line itself. And as far as I can tell, we're still in 3-inch pipe here. If I recall off the top of my head, when I was looking in the crawl space yesterday, though, I almost positive the main line down in there, once you're beyond just the toilet part of the line, is actually 4-inch diameter ABS. I was a little bit worried we were going to have this dang configuration here. Darn it. So what the line is doing right now is it's doing what I was hoping it wasn't going to do. I think what we're doing is the line's double backing on itself. We're actually running to the front of the house right now. This right here looks like the toilet tie-in for the toilet that's closest to the roadway. So what we're going to do here is we're going back towards that bathroom. Looks like we're going to tie in here, drop down, and then we will quite literally go right back the other direction, right back underneath my feet. This is what I was worried about on this one. Some of these will be set up this way because these houses are not specifically designed at the factory for a particular layout at the park that it'll end up being parked on. So sometimes this has to happen. I'm trying to think what we can do here. All right, so you got kind of this is a tricky one here. Where I'm locating is, we're actually like pretty much right between this bathroom and the one that's at the front of the house. So what both lines are doing is they both run away from each other by about 10 to 15 feet, and they meet about in the middle of the house, and they both dive down. So regardless of what toilet you go through, they're both going to have this configuration. If I flush the toilet on the other end of the house, you'll see it come shooting straight into the face of the camera. In fact, I will show that just for the visual. I'm going to go flush the toilet. That's the toilet that's closest to the road. And there you go. So you kind of get an idea, visually speaking, of how these things come together. So it's a very, very tricky configuration to scope. And what's likely going to happen here, what I'm going to try to do is do a string trick. I'm not sure it'll be successful or not. The big hindrance here on a line like this is just the sheer amount of turns in the line. Every time we hit a turn, it makes it that much more likely the camera's going to stop. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to... Yeah, we'll take a whack at it, but... Anyway, when these things are being built at the factory, every one of these parks is laid out a little bit different. There's a lot of them where the main laterals run directly underneath the units themselves. They just pass, you know, they'll run right down the middle, moving from left to right under each unit, and the unit's lines will drop down and go straight into the dirt underneath the house, right into the top of the main. Then you have other ones, which this one looks a little bit more like your average line, where the line leaves the foundation of the house, runs out, you know, 10, 20, 30, 40 feet, and connects into a main lateral, just like the average house on your average neighborhood would have. When these houses are being built at the factory, they don't know what kind of park they're going to end up at. So once you get them set into place, they have to configure the plumbing to match up with that. And a lot of times you end up with something like this. It's you know, you got to make do with what you have.
Attempt at it there.
Dang it, I'm good. That is some MacGyver action right there. That right there is probably one of the most complicated string tricks I've done in my entire career. Normally I'm only doing that getting, 3 to 5 feet into a sewer line, not 20 feet. What I did there is I ran about a 40-foot piece of string and doubled it back on itself. That way, once we got into the turn and got through it, I was able to release the whole piece of string. To line this many turns and swerves, I didn't want to have a gigantic piece of string following the camera the entire time, grabbing onto something potentially. So it looks like here we have exited the foundation of the house. We're getting to PVC pipe now. I've followed this line all the way to the back foundation wall, and it's ABS all the way up till it hits the foundation of the house. Or not foundation, but, the outside footprint of it, we should say. Alright, coming up on some standing water here. We're going to let this thing drain for a moment. I can't see what the heck I'm getting into here. From the looks of it though, and just how far out we are, I would imagine we're getting pretty darn close to the main lateral. And from what I can tell here, the main appears to be at the back. I'm going to go locate here for a moment while the line drains. Okay, so right now we're kind of angling towards the rear right corner of the property. There's kind of a bare patch in the grass back there. Just before you get to a decent sized tree at the rear right corner of the property. Tree part here, I just cannot see a darn thing. Sorry for the noise there. And for all I know, we've dropped into the main already. That's the hard part, is I just can't see anything right now. All right, I'm getting to the point here where I don't know how much further I want to keep going. I don't like pushing this far blindly. And from what I can tell here right now, it looks like the pipe is bellied out. You know, this is something that I would probably, more than anything, you might want to make the HOA aware of it. What you could have going on is something that's affecting the main lateral itself, causing the wire to stand. I'll go do one more locate to see where we are here, but we're getting way out there at this point. All right, so right here is where I'm going to probably call it good. I'm getting really far down line right now, and I'm in a very awkward configuration. It's a miracle we've made it to this point. But right now my locate is coming in past the fence line, so we're out there quite a ways. From the looks of it, we've already gone past the tree that I was a little more concerned about. Water appears to be draining through there without too much issue. I don't want to get this thing into some awkward position out there where my camera head's potentially going to get hung up on something. But it's also entirely possible we've already wide in with the main lateral. You just can't see anything once you're in there. So you do have a fairly substantial amount of standing water here that starts around 62 feet. You know, and this may be related to the main lateral being out of grade, which is going to put this piece of pipe out of grade too. You could have buildup in the main lateral that's causing this part of the line to back up as well. So in a situation like this, being that it's HOA maintained, you might want to clue them into the fact that you may have something going on in the main lateral. It would be great to see a map of how the line is laid out. Just so we can see if it's likely we already connect to the main or not. But without knowing exactly what's going on, this could be completely related to just simply buildup in the line, causing the wire to stand. What I'm not seeing here, though, is any buildup of any kind. I mean, you've got some stuff floating around the water, but we hardly have any debris buildup to speak of in this line, and certainly no blockage or backup evidence. So from that standpoint, you know, this is feeling more like a standing water situation than it is a blockage problem. Where, you know, if you get a piece of pipe that's out of grade, it's going to have standing water in it. That does not guarantee blockages happen. This is just making me nervous at this point, pushing any further into that. The configuration of this line is already hard enough on the camera. If I get that thing, you know, into any position at all that is awkward, where there could be an offset joint or something of that nature, it'll be difficult for me to finagle the camera loose. So at this point, I think we've seen enough. I mean, the line is clearly functioning. It's a clean sewer line. There is zero backup debris, and this is not a line that's been cleaned either preemptively for the sale. There's a lot of film and stuff in here you just can't recreate overnight. You know, the top of the pipe right there is showing some stuff, but I'm seeing that more so on the interior of the home, and that can be related to simply getting a good old-fashioned blockage. Someone just flushed too much stuff down the line, it caused a blockage. So that's something I would clue the HOA into, make them aware of it. We don't start getting standing water in the line until you start getting to near the back of the property, which is putting you, all said and done, you know, about 30 feet or so away from the back of the house. But without, you know, knowing where the main is and everything and where we're positioned relative to that, it's harder to surmise what's going on there. But I only like to push into a line so far blindly like that. So if this weren't HOA maintained, it would make sense to probably go a little bit further into that, investigating it. At this point, I would try to just put that on the HOA, make them aware that you've got, you know, it's a substantial amount of standing water there. The line is fully submerged for about the last 15, 20 feet or so of the line we just went into. But, you know, it could just be simply the pipe's out of grade. You could also have buildup in the main lateral that's causing that wire to stand. So I would put it on them to try and figure out what's going on, you know, from this point forward. The good thing is I'm seeing no debris buildup or any blockage evidence, right? Anything that's happened recently anyway. And out there's hardly any buildup to speak of. There's actually more debris buildup on the inside of the house than there is on the exterior. And what that indicates more so to me is that a just good old-fashioned blockage happens somewhere in and around the house from someone flushing too much stuff down the line. When you get out near the belly, there's almost no debris buildup to speak of immediately prior to it. And that's where you get your best evidence as to whether a spot like that is leading to recurring problems or not. So, by all accounts, the line is functioning. I can't tell you much more than that beyond that point as to whether or not there's an issue with the main or not. I think it's something that HOA should investigate further into at this point.